A box of surprises. Geppetto, the kind-hearted toy maker, was working busily in his cozy little shop, preparing toys for the children of the village. It was Christmas Eve, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of pine and the warmth of anticipation. Pinocchio, the little wooden puppet who had become more real with every passing day, was happily assisting Geppetto, packing the freshly made toys into brightly colored boxes. His wooden hands moved quickly, and his smile was wide as he carefully placed each toy inside the boxes, eager to bring joy to the children who would receive them. Though he was still only a puppet, Pinocchio had a heart full of love and wanted nothing more than to make people happy. Geppetto often told him, "You are my greatest creation, Pinocchio. You bring joy not only to me, but to everyone around you." As the evening wore on, the small village bustled with preparations for the holiday. Children eagerly awaited the arrival of their presents, and Pinocchio was especially excited, knowing that the toys he helped pack would soon bring smiles to many faces. But later that night, as Pinocchio walked through the snowy streets, enjoying the crisp winter air, something troubling caught his eye. A group of children were crying. Their faces were flushed with tears, and their small hands were clenched tightly around their empty boxes. Pinocchio's heart sank as he approached them. "What's wrong, little ones?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. One of the children, a girl with a red ribbon in her hair, pointed toward the corner of the street, where a figure was hurriedly walking away. "He took our boxers. He opened them and stole our toys," she cried. "He's a bad man, a thief." Pinocchio squinted through the falling snow and saw the villainous figure of J. Worthington Fellow, the sly fox who was known for his trickery and greed. He was carrying several wooden puppets, their brightly painted faces smiling innocently, unaware that their homes had been stolen by the wicked fox. "That's foul, fellow," Pinocchio said, a surge of anger rising within him. "He'll pay for this." Pinocchio gently took the children by the hand, leading them back to Geppetto's shop. When they arrived, the kind toy maker, who had been working late into the night, greeted them with a warm smile. "What brings you here, my dear children?" The children told their story, their eyes still brimming with tears. Geppetto, always compassionate, listened carefully and then nodded. "Don't worry, children," he said. "I will make sure you have new toys to replace the ones that were stolen." With a twinkle in his eye, Geppetto turned to Pinocchio and whispered something in his ear. Pinocchio's face lit up with excitement as he nodded in agreement. Together, they would teach Foulfellow a lesson he would never forget. Later that night, as the village settled into a peaceful silence, Pinocchio stepped out into the cold once more, this time carrying a brightly colored box, carefully wrapped with a cheerful ribbon. It was the perfect trap for Foulfellow, who could never resist the allure of new toys. Pinocchio made his way down the snowy street, just as he had done before. As expected, Foulfellow, hiding behind a lamppost, spotted him and crept out with greedy eyes. The fox's grin widened as he saw the box Pinocchio carried. "Aha!" Foulfellow sneered. "Another toy to steal." With a quick leap, Foulfellow snatched the box from Pinocchio's hands. ripping off the colorful string and throwing the lid open in one swift motion. But to his horror, instead of a pretty new puppet or a soft, cuddly doll, out sprang a large coiled spring that shot straight into the air with a loud bowing. The spring uncoiled like a snake, its metal coils spinning rapidly and hissing as it shot upward. Foulfellow let out a high-pitched scream of surprise and pain as the snake popped right up and smacked him on the chin, knocking him backward. "What is this?" he cried, staggering to his feet. Foulfellow's eyes widened in terror as the snake seemed to follow him, its springy coils wiggling in the air. "A fierce snake. I'm not sticking around for this," he shouted, his voice full of panic. Without a second thought, he turned and fled down the street, his legs moving faster than Pinocchio had ever seen. Pinocchio burst into laughter, clutching his sides as he watched Foulfellow run off in fear. "That will teach him," Pinocchio chuckled. Geppetto, who had been watching from the window, joined him outside. "Well, my boy," he said, smiling warmly, "I think that's one lesson J. Worthington Foulfellow won't forget anytime soon." Pinocchio nodded with a grin. "You were right, Papa. He thought he could steal our toys, but he only ended up with a surprise." The two of them laughed together, their hearts light and full of joy. They picked up the box, making sure the snake was safely tucked back inside. It was only a toy after all, but it had done its job perfectly. As the snow continued to fall, Pinocchio and Geppetto returned to the workshop, their hearts content. The children had new toys, and Foulfellow had learned that there was no room for greed in a world filled with kindness. And from that day on, Foulfellow never stole another toy again. The villagers would always remember that Christmas as the one when a clever toy maker and his mischievous puppet friend outwitted the slyest fox in the land with a little box of surprises.